What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. Another Friday, another episode of Why Are We Bullish? It's been an exciting week. I've got fun guests today. I'm happy to see them all again. Been crazy. Little busy this week, but we will chat about it. It's obviously going, if you already know what I'm talking about, you already know what my reason for being bullish is. So spoiler alert, chat about that a little bit today. But again, welcome to the show. As always, this is live. Anything can happen. So I defer to my friend Bill here.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
If you haven't already, like, subscribe, share, all those things are just so incredibly important, and they really do help the show. With that, I am Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.
All right, before we bring in our guests, let's take a look at where we are in the market right now. Up a little bit. It's pleasant. Don't get too excited. I don't know. You never know. It might be another bitch slap back down. Just be open-minded about it. But anyways, we're sitting at 40,676 some odd dollars per coin. A single US dollar will pick you up 2,459 sats. 90.23% of all Bitcoin have been mined. And in terms of fees, a little bit higher today. 9 sats per byte for the next block. Even if you're willing to wait an hour, 5 sats per byte is a safer bet. Bit of excitement with, I guess, that price bump. So yeah, just be aware. A little bit of a higher fee if you want your transaction to go through quickly today. Shout out to sponsors of the show, Shakepay.com. If you're in Bitcoin, you're buying Bitcoin. If you're in Canada and you're buying Bitcoin, super easy way to do it. No deposit fees, no withdrawal fees. Deposits are super easy with e-transfer. After you buy your first $100 using the link down below, you'll get $30 for free into your account. They also enable you to shake your phone every single day for free sats. It's called Shake for Sats. And they've got a sats back Visa card, so many sats. So check them out. I do have a tutorial on them as well. Up next, we got LEDN.io. You can use your Bitcoin for a ton of different services. In particular, if you have Bitcoin, but you need to get your hands on dollars, but you don't want to sell your Bitcoin, well, you can deposit here, get a loan of dollars to your bank account within 24 hours. When you pay back those dollars, you get back the same number of sats. That's the important number. So it's been super useful for me. They also have savings accounts for Bitcoin and USDC. They have a B2X offering if you're feeling mega bullish. Be careful. Don't go too degen there, though. Okay, moving on. Bitrefill. I live on Bitcoin. This helps a ton. I can get every gift card that I need here. It's available in Canada. It's available in the US. It's available all around the globe. So check them out. You earn sats back as you shop. They got a referral program to earn additional sats. So check that out too. Keystone, one of my favorite, most used hardware wallets. 100% air gapped. You never plug it into anything internet connected. Keeps the keys to your money safe and away from devious connections. Works with Blue Wallet, Wasabi, Spectre, Sparrow, all the good stuff. Awesome in a multi-sig. Check it out. Links are below. And finally, if you're backing up any important Bitcoin wallet, check out privacypros.io and grab yourself a BillFodl solid steel for your seed backup. Paper sucks, guys. Fire damage, water damage. You might discard it. It's just a slip of paper. Steel. That's the way to go. So anyways, enough ranting, guys. Let's bring in some friends. We got a good handful. Yellow, Plan Marcus, Big Sean, Greg, you made it. Are you in the car? He's for sure driving right now. Okay, good. Yeah, awesome. Well, gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is the second time doing this exact panel. Last time I was with you, I was in Greece. Back home now. That was in August. Been some time. So I'm glad to have you guys back. Welcome. Let's do a quick down the line of intros, and we'll see if Greg is there when we get to him. But Yellow, let people know who you are.
Hello, everybody. I'm Yellow. I do memes and other stuff. I don't know, man. I do a space every day. Don't stop believing. I keep on doing it until 100K. I do silly stuff like that to pass the time until hyper Bitcoinization, I guess.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I'm glad to have you, man. Always the best special effects that I've ever seen. So thank you for that. There we go. You got it all lined up. Awesome. Sean, how about you? A little intro.
Hey, Sean Harris. I do memes as well with the Meme Factory. I'm the guy making those ad copy videos after our podcast. I play basketball. I'm out here in Spain right now, currently in the Canary Islands, and I love Bitcoin. So I'm here and I'm bullish.
Awesome. Glad to have you. And Marcus, you're up. A little intro, if you may.
Yeah, Ben, thanks for having me. Last time, 6 months ago, I was in St. Martin. You were in Greece. I'm back in Amsterdam now. I'm actually going to be moving back to St. Martin in August, so I got a nice change of scenery coming up. I got to get out of this crazy European space where
yeah, no kidding.
Stuff that's going on. But so things are going to change. I make memes, you know. I just hang out on Twitter. I try to suck up as much podcasts like this one and a lot of other ones. So it's great to be here. Great to hang out with the crew from the Meme Factory. And awesome. Yeah, you know, we just make memes and whatever's happening on Twitter, we try to make something creative.
I gotta say, Marcus has the more undervalued Twitter account. His videos are so wholesome and uplifting. So yeah, I gotta
well, we better all go give him a follow. Everybody that's watching right now.
East side, so spread the love, guys.
Yeah. Now, since Greg is actively driving home and having trouble, I'm gonna let one of you guys give Greg an intro. Who wants this one?
Yellow, go for it.
Okay, wait, I got it.
But you gotta be Greg.
Oh, I gotta be Craig?
Yeah, you gotta be Craig.
Okay, I gotta be Craig. So, hey guys, my name is Craig. I really don't know what's special about me, but like everybody tells me to go fuck myself. And I don't know, I do memes. I'm also in strike with Yellow and RD. And I'm here for something. He would say something like smart now, but I'm not that.
Yeah, something about space. Say something about space.
Something nerdy now. He would say something nerdy.
Okay, great, perfect. That was it couldn't have been better if it was Greg himself. Perfect. So yeah, let's dive in. When Greg gets here, we'll bring him in and tell him he got an excellent intro. But everybody watching, thank you for being here. This is our panel today. And if you're new to the show, this is Why Are We Bullish? We go by the 3 R's. Somebody's going to come with a reason for being bullish. We're all going to riff on that reason together, and then we're going to rotate to the next guest. All right, so really simple premise. I am going to get us started here and give my reason for being bullish. Has a couple of physical accompaniments here that will actually function this time. Of course, I did news yesterday, and I just couldn't share my screen, so here we go. Introducing, if you haven't seen them already, Honk Honk Hodl, aka me. This is a page that I created at the beginning of the week. It's already got, holy shit, almost 1,400 followers. So this is in support of the movement in Ottawa, Canada, to help raise funds for the truckers and those that are pushing for the end of the restrictions as we know them right now in Canada. And so basically, we saw earlier this week the GoFundMe. Some funds were released to the people running the GoFundMe, but right now, last I have heard, it's currently, it says it's under review, but effectively the funds are not being moved at the current time. And my understanding is they're doing a review of the terms and conditions and seeing if all, where funds are being allocated. Basically, long and the short of it, a bunch of people donated money, and that money currently is unable to be moved. And so, obviously as Bitcoiners, we kind of see this, we've been seeing this type of stuff for years. And well, here's an example of where Bitcoin does not have that problem, where when you send Bitcoin, it can instantly be in the hands of those that you send it to. And so Hong Kong HODL was born and created a page on something called Tallycoin, which is really awesome. It's effectively, it allows you to create a fundraiser and either use a static Bitcoin address, an XPub, so multiple addresses for each transaction, or link to your Lightning node and receive Lightning transactions. So that's exactly what we did. We have a steady stream of people contributing, like this gentleman here, 10,000 sats, and the message was the honking must continue until freedom improves. So this is kind of what has been going on. Again, it's been 3 days. We have 1,048 contributors, and we're 87.2% to our goal of 100 million sats, or 1 Bitcoin. So we've so far been given 87 million sats. We actually might be quite a bit closer to that 100 million sat goal because I was talking with the creator of Tallycoin, and he said there's a couple background transactions that actually did confirm but aren't showing as confirmed yet on the page. So when that gets updated, we could be damn close to a whole Bitcoin in just a few days. So I got to give a shout out to DJ Booth, who is the person who created Tallycoin. And I got to give a shout out to Umbral because it was easy as pie downloading the Tallycoin Connect app in Umbral and then just connecting this fundraiser direct to my own Lightning node, which I can now see just transactions stream in as people make them. And for the beautiful part, maybe there's some people that might be curious and watching this right now that don't know what the deal with Bitcoin is. But effectively, this is a fundraiser that was able to take place that the moment you send the money, it is in the custody of the people actually organizing the fundraiser and cannot be held captive by a platform. And so this is why I'm bullish today, is because I'm kind of seeing the miracle of Bitcoin, of Lightning Network, of running your own node, the censorship resistant nature of Bitcoin, and incredible builders in the space like DJ Booth creating things like Tallycoin. So I just got like slapped in the face with how incredible Bitcoin is yet again, and it never ceases to amaze me. So that's my reason for being bullish, gentlemen. If anybody wants to jump in, go ahead.
Awesome, man. Like in 3 days, in 3 days, you bypass all that like corrupt centralized system of like crowdfunding and all that. Like that's awesome, man.
I don't know if all the listeners know, but I think the GoFundMe page, that's the backstory, right? I mean, the Canadian truckers, they had about what, 8 million, 10 million in donations sitting there. 10 million, can you imagine? On a GoFundMe. And then what? The mayor of Ottawa said we have to seize that money, and
they're talking about they want to sue GoFundMe, and they're basically trying to stop that money from getting to where it was intended to go, because it's possible to do that. Now, whether or not they're successful in actually fully stopping that money from eventually getting there, I don't know. But yeah, it's shitty because it's like it's a more of a time sensitive thing. Like the money is useful as the protest is happening, and so that's where Bitcoin comes in with it's there and it's accessible.
Yeah, I think it's just interesting how, you can layer it with bureaucracy and say, oh, we need to get the lawyers and make sure there's a plan with the money. But with Bitcoin, you can just send the money. You don't have to worry about if a third party is going to stop it, seize it. You don't have to worry about anyone getting in your way. And I think that's what's really cool is you make the transaction and it's peer-to-peer, and you don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And again, we'll see. We're getting input, and we have a guy on the ground who's kind of seeing what's needed and what's not. But yeah, that's that is kind of where we're at. And also, I'm getting people messaging me right now. I think because we just went live, a bunch of people are trying to make payments right now, and the Lightning portion is maybe my node's getting
Let's
a little
go!
overwhelmed.
Let's go, guys!
Why are you such a bear though? I mean, 100 million sats. It's like you got to pump those numbers, man.
Yeah.
It started as 10 million because it was like, I don't know how many people are actually going to give a shit. Turns out a lot. Turns out 1,050 right now. So yeah, anybody, if
right,
anybody,
let's go, guys. Let's fill it up 5 minutes.
Pump those numbers up.
Yeah.
Can it go past? Can it go past the goal?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
All right.
If anybody, I love that Yellow's throwing trucks right now. It's awesome.
All right, Greg is not here. Greg is not here, but Greg wanted me to tell you guys that that above 100 million sats, he's gonna double whatever it goes above.
Yeah, he said it. Yeah. He said that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Labra's 2 sats will be part of it.
Free Labra.
If anybody is currently on there just trying to like send sats, it might be like after this show, I'll check on the Lightning portion. It may be just overwhelmed with people trying to use it right now, but on chain will continue to work, and I see those coming in. So that's it. Thanks to everybody that's looking at that's contributing. And yeah, we will. Greg Foss is helping out with it. Jeff Booth is helping out with it, and so between them and our man on the ground there, he will help determine kind of what's needed most, and that's where things will be funneled. There was a couple of cool ideas that were thrown out. I saw somebody that just took like not through Bitcoin, but just took like 13 grand and bought that much worth of fuel, and then just said like, pull up to the gas station, fill up any truckers. And so that was one idea.
Awesome.
The other thing is like some of these gift card places, like I mentioned Bitrefill, but there's also coincards.ca in Canada, and you can just buy any gift card with Bitcoin. So maybe giving out gas cards might be something that could be done. Maybe giving out grocery cards, just things like that. There's a lot that could be done. And then Bull Bitcoin in Canada, you can pay any bill with Bitcoin. So if something was needed sent to an actual biller, I don't know if that would be useful in this situation, but there's a lot of options in Canada in which Bitcoin can be used. And same with Shakepay, you can send Bitcoin there and then use the tap Visa. So yeah, we'll see, but we'll see what's actually needed first. But
yeah, can you imagine like quitting because these guys are just parked up there, like they're not running their trucks. It's costing them a lot of time, a lot of money, probably a lot of stress on their families as well. It's not like they're there. And what's the temperature over there? I'm like so bullish on them. If you're like minus 20, willing to, just...
Yeah, there's spots as they were driving through, especially like in like Saskatchewan and Manitoba and stuff, where in parts of Ontario it was like minus 30 or something, and people were standing outside just cheering them on and flags and stuff. So yeah, I don't know.
I guess that's what Klaus was talking about. We have a small but closing window of opportunity before they figured nobody's going to protest in the midst of winter. We got to push this through now, guys.
The window is closing right now.
I guess if it was going to be anybody in the winter, it was going to be Canada. We don't give a fuck.
Canada or Russia, one of those two.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, I won't take up too much time with this topic, but again, I'll just say thanks to anybody that's contributed or shared or anything. Follow Honk Honk Hodl if you want updates on that. I'll be putting those out as they come. So yeah. Let's keep it rolling. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Keep the comments coming. I'll start pulling them up, but we're gonna rotate. Yellow, you get to take us on a journey. What are you bullish about this week?
I really thought about that question, and I was checking the hash rate numbers. I was checking the Lightning Network funding numbers, the liquid too, and I was thinking about, like, I could talk about all that, but like in the end, for me, I am bullish because I look around. Even if we fight, like, I see the fellow Bitcoiners and the solidarity we have between us. Lo, there I see my mother and my brothers. The line of my people back to the beginning. That's the only scene in my mind playing, man. Every day.
What movie is that?
13th Warrior, man. Come on. In the halls of Valhalla, where the brave men live forever. I got nothing else, man. That's all I think.
I need to look up this. It's like, what the hell is the 13th Warrior?
The 13th Warrior, an epic movie, man.
Haven't you heard of it, Ben? It's the 13th Warrior.
I had not. I did not know that it was Antonio Banderas.
Dude, it's a fucking awesome movie.
Yeah.
Watch it after that, and my mind is a meme, so I think like that. I don't know, man. I'm bullish for my fellow Bitcoiners, man.
Let me read the summary of what this is. A Muslim ambassador exiled from his homeland, Ahmad ibn Fadlan, finds himself in the company of Vikings. Ooh, intriguing. While the behavior of the Norsemen initially offends him, the more cultured outsider grows to respect the tough, if uncouth, warriors. During their travels together, Ibn Fadlan and the Vikings get word of an evil presence closing in, and they must fight the frightening and formidable force which was previously thought to exist only in legend. Well, obviously, this is what I'm watching this week.
Dude, you should, like, I can't believe you haven't watched it, man. Come on.
Don't get yellow started.
To Valhalla.
Oh, that's awesome. I am watching that now. You should. I like it. I keep that background.
I'm still unclear about what made you bullish about that scene. We're all brothers.
Yeah, man, solidarity. Like, we don't give a fuck. Like, in the end, like, the number goes down. Good for us. We buy more cheap sats. The number goes up. We party. Like, I don't know. Also, shout out to my favorite viewer right now, David Wong. We love you, dude.
David Wong is. I said hi to him in the chat, but I should say hello to him in person every episode. David, welcome. Very glad to have you here. Those not aware, David is my #1 fan. He never misses an episode of Why Are We Bullish, despite the fact that he despises Bitcoin. And he's always telling us in the comments how incorrect we are about all of this. Right now, he said 10 years, Bitcoin will be around 10K to 50K level. It is a trade. I'm not sure what he was getting. I mean,
sounds salty to me. Sounds a little salty.
It is a little salty. I'm just trying to see what David's been up to in the chat here.
How long has David been right?
Well, I mean, he is, to give you an idea of his time preference, he tends to look at 3-month windows of price action. So he said, I am trying to find the bullish case, but I can't find any. But luckily he is sticking around and watching the show. So maybe he will find it somewhere herein. I guess Yellow didn't get him, but we've got lots of chances to convince him of how bullish this is. And Greg is now joining us. Greg, you had an excellent intro provided by Yellow earlier. I hope you look back at that and enjoy it.
It's horrible. Sorry, Greg.
he's maybe here, but at least he's got a.
Thank you for your donations, Greg.
I'm also bullish about Factosi being back on Twitter because, like,
is he?
Yeah, my muse to meme is back, so I have so many ideas now. Like,
what's his handle? Do you know?
I'll DM you. It's like I have so many ideas I can place rainbow dildos now, like eyes, like I don't know, man. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna have to give that a quick follow because that Twitter I wonder, like, it's just going to be people tweeting like screen caps of charts of BSV versus Bitcoin. So like it just smashed through a new all-time low. So that's good.
Every month it does.
Yeah, it's a trend. This will not be news. Yeah, that's well, I mean, hey, I echo your sentiment. You know, Bitcoiners just kind of the Bitcoiners that matter are the ones that kind of stick around through, you know, they see the hype come and go, and they're still here. And those are the, especially when you see, like, if you're at a conference or something and you see somebody like during a bull market, and then you see them again during a bear market, and then you see them again in the next bull market, and there's just this silent knowing, this gaze that you just kind of look and yeah, we know we've been here. So yeah, it's I'm also equally bullish on Bitcoiners. Anybody else want to chime in before a rotation?
Greg.
Oh, Greg.
Poor Greg.
Right on cue.
Yeah. Well, we can, if it keeps happening, then Yellow, you can always give Greg responses at any point if you so choose. If you think Greg would ever say something or respond in a certain way, then you are welcome to
Ben,
heed his voice.
I think you, at this point, you kind of know me. I don't know if it's like very wise of you, like, to give me that kind of freedom.
I will say this about Bitcoiners: it is just fun to get with a group of people who have like done the work. You know, like even Marcus and Yellow and I were talking earlier today, and it's just fun to talk with people who know about Bitcoin, who study and understand what's going on, instead of like talking to the same people every day who have no clue. Like, they have no clue why certain problems are existing, why certain freedoms are being infringed on, all these things. And then you get Bitcoiners and you can just talk, and you're at the same level. So it's a lot of fun. Even last year I went to the Bitcoin conference, and I can't go this year, but it was crazy when you can just sit down and anyone you talk to, it's like you don't have to explain like 5 levels before you actually want to say what you want to say. You can just get right to the point.
Yeah, absolutely.
I gotta echo that, because it's like, and the optimism that you find there. I'm like super bullish on meetups, and you know, like, you gotta find your. Oh, we lost Ben.
No, I'm still here.
He's still there. Yeah, you gotta find. You know, you know how we talk about like I'm class of 2018 or class of 2020, or you know, you gotta find your class. Everybody comes in at a certain point. The rabbit hole is deep. Everybody's on some part of their journey, and it's nice to find people who are in a similar area to talk with, you know, and find those. And like, I'm seeing it around me here too. I've been to the Dutch meetup here in Amsterdam, which was really good. There was some shitcoinery going on as well, but it's there's a separate group called the Dutch Node Runners. They're like super toxic Dutch maximalists. You know, they just had a meetup this evening. I had to miss out on that one because I think I had the Rona this week, so I couldn't go. But if you see like the energy in the Telegram group and in the chats, and everybody wants to work in Bitcoin, and they're either coding or running nodes, I mean, it's real, and you see it like growing each time. And these groups are, how can you not be bullish about Bitcoiners? And you don't see people going the other way either. You know, like, people might start out with like shit coins, you know, and move around, but once they hit that Bitcoin sweet spot, you don't really see them going back, unless maybe you're called Udi or something.
I think one thing too, a good, perhaps when somebody's kind of in the early stages and shitcoining and stuff, I think the deeper you get in and the more you want to kind of get your hands dirty, the more curious you are, the more you kind of dive into the more technical aspects. Like, oh, I want to play with, for instance, I want to run a node. And so that becomes like, that tends to be an exclusively like Bitcoiner point of interest. A lot of Bitcoiners are coming to the point where they're like, oh, I want to run a node. And there's a lot of kind of work being done around that, making that an accessible experience and being able to interact with your node in a variety of different ways, using applications that plug into it. And I don't really see much of that, especially the amount of stuff that's being built in and around that ecosystem available outside of Bitcoin. So I think when you're encountering people that are still dabbling in the shitcoins, if you get them interested in the, oh, like this is actually how I truly run this myself, then that becomes a point of interest for them where they start to realize, oh, Bitcoin is totally different. Like there's so much more being built here, so much more being done, because when I try to do these other things on other chains, it's not possible. Same thing with doing things like multi-sig arrangements and all of the different hardware wallets, some of the ones that are Bitcoin only. There's just so many cool Lightning Network, all that kind of stuff, routing liquidity. Once you dive down that rabbit hole, it's kind of hard to come back out of it.
And it's very sad because most of those shitcoiners, because I have friends that are still shitcoining, they are stuck in the view of Bitcoin as it was back in 2017. Like they think they just send Bitcoin back and forth and that's it. And there's so much stuff you can do nowadays. So many applications, especially with Lightning Network and Liquid. Like, dude, cuts up. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. There's so much, and it's again, I see a lot of people. I just had have you guys seen on Twitter the crypto couple, they're called, but they also
Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so
guys.
that's all right. Yeah, but they talked about how they kind of initially got in and like, there's a lot of information. It's difficult to kind of parse everything, but now they're basically having that education through you see it happening. They've got their main handle, but then they're like, oh, we're the BTC couple, we should probably make that handle. And oh, now all of their stuff is focusing kind of like on the ethos of Bitcoin. It's cool to see.
Yeah.
So sorry, Marcus, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I have this other thought I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't know if it's like, I was trying to make the comparison between like shitcoiners and that route. It's like, imagine somebody discovers like this terraforming, where you want to live on different planets, right? And somebody, let's call him Satoshi, discovered some kind of magic blueprint where you can like teleport yourself to a different planet. You can also like turn oxygen into like this very small liquid substance, so it gets transported within that blueprint to the next planet, and then you can actually go and terraform that planet and actually survive over there. And then some shitcoiner comes and says, wow, this blueprint is really cool, but I can fix it, right? I don't need to use all this space on like oxygen. I just want to be able to drive around and have fun on that planet too, So I'm gonna, we'll fix the oxygen later. But
yeah. Well,
this is turning out to be like
let's make a token about it.
Yeah.
This is probably like the worst example ever, but yeah, it's like you have to fix the money.
Stop being so shy, damn it. It's us. Why are you nervous again?
Is it that obvious?
Come on.
I want to keep roll. I'm just looking in I'm looking in the comments here. Somebody asking about the trucker. Dude, I will talk to you as soon as I'm done this show. I promise. All right. Yeah. Sorry, guys. But yes, let's keep going. I'm going to give this a rotation and jump to Sean so that you can enlighten us on what has you feeling bullish this week. What's going on?
Yes, sir. I'm bullish. Nothing crazy. It's just because Bitcoin's a fixed supply. I think that recently has kind of been blowing my mind again. Because right now, like you have everything going on in the world, and then you have this one thing that can't be moved. And I think that's just amazing how there's just one, it's a fixed supply, and we've never seen anything in the world before that has a fixed supply like that. And I think that's amazing because, you know, we have MicroStrategy continues to buy in, El Salvador, like the president's out there, and he's just tweeting, we bought the dip again. And then it's like you have other countries that are realizing what's going on. Other companies are starting to understand. And you have billionaires like the legendary Bill Miller, you know, who's a legendary investor. And he's also said, you know, he's 50% Bitcoin. And it's like, how many more people, Paul Tudor Jones, all these people are starting to come in, and it's a fixed supply asset. So, you know, when the demand grows, the only thing that can happen is price goes up. And it really doesn't matter, you know, what's happened in the past. And I think that's what a lot, even us as Bitcoiners, we'll look at like these cycles of 2013, 2017, and yeah, they matter. But when you get to the point where it's almost like a tipping point, you know, where everything in the past doesn't matter because there's new people that are coming in and they understand it and they're going to continue to buy it. They're not going to be afraid of it. You know, you have like the third richest man in Mexico who's a Bitcoiner. You have all these people just popping up out of nowhere who have a lot of money and influence. And then you have a ton of plebs who understand the truth. And that just kind of blows my mind about it being this fixed supply asset. And the only thing that can happen is more people are going to buy. And I was talking to Marcus about this earlier today, actually. It was like when there was one person who knew about Bitcoin when it's Satoshi, he could tell as many people as he could tell, and that was it. But then if you get like 10 people who understood it, then they're telling everyone they know. Well, now you have like 100 million people or 200 million people who are starting to get it, and they're telling it. And so it's just moving. It's the whole like gradually, and then suddenly. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's part of what's going on is it's a fixed supply asset. Everyone's starting to understand more about it. You know, if you don't have, like even Dave Portnoy was on air today and was like, if you don't have Bitcoin in your portfolio, you're an idiot. It's like Portnoy's got lettuce hands. So
yeah.
Even
yeah, did you see my response to him when he first tweeted that he bought $1 million with a I had to do the meme. I had to say, let us see how this all plays out. I was pretty happy about that. I hope he saw it, but yeah.
Dude, you gotta give Portnoy some props though for like not giving a fuck and still come out. I mean, how many people have gone through something like this where you come into Bitcoin, you fuck up, you either buy some shit coins, you lose some money, you get wrecked, you get humbled, you look at it again, you move away from it a little bit. Bitcoin just kicks you in the face because it doesn't care about you. Yeah. And then you're like, okay, like everybody's in this game, and I think that's something you're saying too, Sean. It's like, like whether you like it or not, Bitcoin is here now. It's scarce, and now everybody is, can either act or not act, and yeah, sooner or later, this game theory will make you have to act, so it's you can try to pretend it's not there, but
and you're not gonna, and people think like, oh, I can miss out on this and I'll be okay. And it's like, you're not gonna miss out on it. You're just going to own Bitcoin later on at a higher price. And like, you're eventually everyone's gonna own some, and you're gonna transact in it, and you're gonna use it, but you're never gonna, unless you just die, you're not missing out on it. You're just gonna use it. You're just gonna own it at a much higher price.
And a lot of people will own it before they even realize that they own it, because there's going to be mutual funds and pensions that own Bitcoin. And when's the last time any fucking person even looked at the breakdown of what their pension owns? Nobody does. And so a lot of people currently probably own Bitcoin that don't know about it.
They don't know it, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thought, though.
Yeah. So there's probably some. I bet David here in the chat, I bet you it's, if he doesn't already, at some point in the future, he's gonna own Bitcoin as he's shit talking Bitcoin on this show.
I mean, think about it. If you own an index fund that has Tesla in it, or Square or MicroStrategy, you essentially own Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Indirectly.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So David, check your index funds. dump whatever you don't like.
And let's not to go even further on that. Let's not forget the news that came out this week as well. Or I don't know if it was really. Yeah, I think it was news that the miners, or at least some miners in Texas, have agreed that they're going to deliver or are willing to shut down some of the mining to be able to stabilize the grid if the grid demands like peak energy. And this is like a massive narrative changer. If you think about it, because here you have an electrical grid, right, that's has enough power on it for like normal loads, but then when there's like a peak demand coming in, there's sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man, keep talking.
So imagine you have this electrical grid but when there's like peak demands, there's not enough capacity to provide, and you're going to have to cut off certain areas of and some people are going to be left without electricity. What can you do as a government or as a local municipality? You can invest in extra capabilities, which is really expensive, and then you're going to have all this excess capability that's not producing most of the time, only to stabilize your grid at those peak moments. Now with Bitcoin miners, you actually have buyers for that excess energy you're producing. So you always have a buyer, which makes it profitable, or at least economical to make that investment. And then when the grid demands that peak, you can just shut down some of those miners, and you have. So I can't even imagine what's that going to do with energy prices and for energy, So it's It's, I mean, so David,
helps, right?
I don't know if David has a response to that.
David Wong is becoming like the Peter Swift of the show.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we'll just take this one last comment from him, and then we can continue on. David Wong would like you to know that the government will never let Bitcoin get to an uncontrollable size. If it gets any bigger, they will chop it down.
It's in 1 trillion, dude. It's 1 trillion. What are you talking about?
Exactly. We've heard that at like 500.
Which government is the question?
Yeah.
There's 195 countries. There's already one government who's used it as legal tender.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's fun. That's okay. Yeah. Thanks, David. Thank you for your input. I value you.
He hasn't done the work. That's all. He just hasn't done the work yet.
Yeah, he's doing the work right now. He's getting responses. So it's okay. We love him. He's my mascot every show. Also, well, let's keep it rolling. Actually, Marcus, you were just chatting, but we're going to continue with you. We'll get your reason for being bullish.
My reason for being, it's not one reason. I also made some notes of like some recent news or what was going on, and I had the Canada. You already mentioned that. I had the mining in Texas, Bitcoin integrating into every layer of society. I like the idea of like it kind of chimes into the Canada as well, like the whole silent majority thing and tipping points. I always like to still think about Bitcoin being when you compare it to like the adoption of technology, and the diffusion of new technologies or innovations or applications, and because it's not just like money printing and inflation. I mean, that's going on and having an impact on the price as well, but it's mostly still just like a new form of saving, a new form of transacting, and everything. Bitcoin is so much and so many things and so many different things to many people in different situations. But in all those things, it's still adopting, because like David here, there's still a lot of people who don't really believe in it yet, or we're really good at seeing fears. We're always very careful because we don't want to get burnt. So you're always cautious, and which is a normal human trait to have, and it's healthy. But at some point, it just becomes obvious that this thing, if you see it what it is, and you understand sound money and the problem we have in society, and how that idea and that one, like how many people see that, and how many. It's not just people; it's also corporations, and then within people and corporations, how many value will you start assigning or transferring into Bitcoin is another adoption cycle in itself again. So, yeah.
Like think of how much misallocated capital there is right now. Like the trillions and trillions worth of negative yielding debt. Like I was listening to, I think it was Greg Foss, Preston Pish, and who was on with them? They were on Blue Collar Bitcoin, and they were chatting about this, and like in many instances, let's say you're getting one point something percent on your bonds. Well, if the 7% inflation print is still there, even if you're generous and you think that it's going to be you're maybe going to make 2% on your bonds or something, which is not what they're at all. Every year you're guaranteed to lose 5% purchasing power. So in 30 years, what do you have left?
You've lost everything. He lost everything in that amount of time.
Yeah, it's insane. Like you cannot save that way, and that's what there's so much money in bonds around the world that is yielding negative, and that's an insane thing. Like that's not a natural development. That's not a natural market. That is a manipulated market. It's unbelievable, and it can't continue forever. I mean, they can kick down the road a lot, but now there's actually an alternative that over time is becoming more and more apparent to a lot of people, and people that are like not just the weirdos that got into Bitcoin first, myself included, and all of you guys, but you're talking about Bill Miller, you're talking about Paul Tudor Jones. Bill Miller, with 50% of his exposure is in Bitcoin. You got Fidelity dropping full 26-page papers on Bitcoin first, and this is our thesis, and it's pretty telling that a lot of people whose job it is to preserve capital and purchasing power are starting to get it. So super awesome.
Shout out to Sam. He's donating for the dinner fund.
Hey, there he is. What's going on, Sam? Thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
It's crazy. It's crazy when you're talking about those negative yielding bonds. I think there's
we're getting a little price pump here, guys. Sorry.
Of course we are, man. Of course we are. What do you expect, man?
Yellow, play the song.
What do you expect? Come on. Believe. Oh, there he is. I was ready to do his why I'm bullish for Craig, but I guess he's doing it now.
Is he here this time though, or is he just?
I don't know.
He's just gracing us with his sexy avatar.
With his action figure avatar.
Yeah.
If I may, until Craig speaks, also something that I was extremely bullish because we had BTC Mechanic yesterday on the podcast, and Tomer and BTC Granny, and we're seeing more and more organic kind of communities forming, like the ones in El Salvador, like all over the world, like small places where a few shops are accepting Bitcoin, they get orange pilled, and like small communities being built. So I think we won't see actually a citadel being built, but we're going to see like a small towns actually like running on Bitcoin, right? Like being Bitcoin world, and those communities will grow. That's extremely bullish, like all over the world, like Mexico, Guatemala. I've been hearing like communities all over the world, like that.
Yeah,
like little Bitcoin beaches, or you have Bitcoin Lake in Guatemala right now. It's got all these little things.
Those are the most exciting to me because I picture being in one of those places and living, because it rubs off on people, right? Like there's certain changes that happen to you, like and your personality and the way you think about the world and the way you think about life, which it again, to everybody that listens to this that isn't currently examining the lens of Bitcoin, it's difficult to understand that, and they think it sounds stupid to say that that money changed the way you look at everything, but that's very much a true statement from a lot of people I know, myself included. And you start attacking things differently. You lower your time preference, and you start taking on projects that may not bear fruit the first day or the first hour that you're doing them, but you're actually looking out on, okay, if I chip away at this year after year, I will build something important to me, myself, my family, my children, my grandchildren, all that kind of stuff. So it's a different framework.
It gives a lot of meaning to life too, right? Because if you feel like no matter what I do, I will always be poor, I can never get ahead of this inflation, then it takes a lot of meaning out of your life. But if you can like, okay, I can actually work in something that I want to work in, I can save my wealth in something that will never deplete, it doesn't go away, and it actually grows in the long term, then it puts more focus back into your life on what really matters too.
When you have the best defense ever against inflation, you can like plan and build on that for your future. And like, even if you do your own thing around Bitcoin, or you work for a Bitcoin company, that they are very open of how you work and how freely you work, right? Like, even those places don't get like adopted by the indigenous people 100%. In the end, we are gonna move there. We, the Bitcoiners, we're gonna move there, right? Like, we're gonna choose a community in Guatemala or El Salvador or Mexico, and we're gonna move there in the end. Like, that's the goal, and we're gonna be working from there. Like, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I do want to visit. I gotta visit Bitcoin Beach and Bitcoin Lake. I met the guys from Bitcoin Lake, and they were awesome. So those are some. I definitely gotta.
We were talking about this earlier. We're going to try to go in August, Ben. So it'd be cool if you could go in August.
Yeah, I don't know if I will. I will try.
Yeah, the meme factory might try to make an appearance down there. We'll see.
I saw Max and Stacy were just in a little photo op with Mr. President himself. Yeah, so
I did see that. I then put myself in the photo afterwards and replied.
Everybody did.
Yeah. We know a little bit about the photo editing skills. We'll get that photo.
Yeah.
I gotta pull it in. Just so you know, Bitcoin needs a 100% return from here just to get to the highs again. But it is very hard to go up that much again.
Which highs?
No.
Which highs, dude? Which highs? I've been this 2013. Which highs you talking about?
It's interesting because interest rates, if you really think about where the interest rate's at, like, why is the interest rate so low? Because it has to be that low. And if interest rates get pushed up by the Fed, then it's not going to be like, okay, Bitcoin has acted like a risk on, but that's what stocks are, is risk on. And so if the Fed wants to see just like a total deflationary collapse of the stock market, then they'll start to raise rates. But they don't want to do that because no one in politics wants to be the one who caused the biggest crash ever. And so they can't raise rates because everything is dependent on keeping the rates low, printing more money. And if you continue to do that, you can kick the can down the road long enough, and then you get out of office, and then it's someone else's problem. But I mean, Bitcoin, it acts like a risk-on asset until it doesn't. It's just an uncorrelated asset. So if rates go up, Bitcoin could still go up. No one's saying that it has to go down if rates go up. I mean, what if the rates go up and then Walmart says, we just bought $5 billion of Bitcoin? You know, like, what happens to the Bitcoin price at that time? Or Mexico says we've made Bitcoin legal tender while rates go up, you know, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
David still believes that that narrative from the mainstream media that rates are actually going to go up.
Yeah.
But,
Oh man.
He probably still believes that Santa Claus is real, that the Easter Bunny is real.
David's
Yeah.
probably
Well,
saying,
he
"Look, they
says
said
that.
it. They're really going to do it. They said
Yeah,
it.
he
They're
said
going to."
he says we have high inflation, so the only way they have is to raise rates. You're right, but if they raise rates, then they implode the bond market if they go up too high. And I think rather than imploding the global bond market and the stock market for that matter, because all the companies are valued at like 25x profits.
Yes.
And so yeah, if they start to raise rates too much, all of that explodes. So what's the
30,
easiest way to
30
kick down?
$30 trillion in debt, and you want
Yeah.
to raise the rates. You want to raise
Yeah. Like what's the easier option here for them? If you're a central banker, do you raise rates to stop inflation even to the point where all other markets just implode? Or do you just try to say that you're going to do some stuff, maybe try to get through a hike, have it go poorly, and then kind of scale back or find fun ways to pretend that you're not easing, but you actually are, which, they were using the reverse repo market a lot for that earlier. But they can change the language around that kind of stuff to make it seem like they're not doing it anymore, but they are going to continue creating new dollars into the system to hold up what's going on. They cannot meaningfully and raise rates.
There's only two things I'm certain in this life. One is where my key's at, right? And the other is that politicians, in the end, they just kick the can down the line. That's what they do. Nothing else. Like they can say they can do something else, but in the end, they just kick the can down the line.
Yeah.
I mean, and in the 80s, they raised the rates. Paul Volcker came in and raised the rates, but there was the global debt to GDP was way lower, right? Right now, with $30 trillion of debt, it's mathematically, you can't do it. You mathematically can't do it unless you want a deflationary collapse of the whole financial system. And so I think that's like the biggest thing is like when it comes down to a recession or depression or inflation, debasing the currency, government will always choose debasing the currency 100% of the time. And so there's just going to be more inflation, or they're going to change CPI, and they're going to take out certain things out of the basket of CPI, and they're going to say, oh, inflation's now 3%, when all they've done is they just said, oh, we've taken out food, we've taken out gasoline now, and now your inflation rate's 3%, and people still believe it.
Yeah, exactly. Like this, if you go back, like on some of these other inflation prints where they've been saying, oh, we're at 7% or 5% or whatever. If you go back to when they started screwing with the CPI and changing the metrics, so they did a couple things. They allowed for the replacement of goods with like goods. So what that meant was, hey, okay, so inflation has gone up. And so because of that, people have stopped buying steak and instead they buy ground beef. Well, they're still eating, they're still getting meat. So we'll just count that. We'll replace the steak and the ribeyes that they used to buy, and we'll just say a pound of beef, no different. And now your cost of living hasn't changed as much. And so that was one of the things that they did. And then they also allowed for adjustments for quality in goods. So let's say you had a phone, like a new iPhone, and then the next year, the next one was twice as fast. They account for that in the price of the phone. They said, well, this is twice as good because of these reasons. And so technically you're getting that phone for half price, but that's not actually taking into account what actually gets spent. If you want a new phone, you're paying twice as much. So they don't, but curiously, they don't account for decline in goods. So when you get, when somebody swaps in ingredients in whatever, whatever meal, like a frozen meal or something that you buy at the supermarket, or when they sub in high fructose corn syrup instead of sugar, they don't account for a degradation in the quality of goods. So everything is gamed to to make inflation look as minimal as possible. And then they don't count things that are, you know, probably important, like housing and fuel and education. None of that gets fucking measured in there.
Yeah, and
I
it's interesting.
remember
It's
back in my day, I used to get chips and it was full with actual chips inside. Like you open the chip bag now, it's like 4 chips inside. I'm like, fucking inflation.
all air.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and I mean, I saw, what was the book? I think I got it here somewhere. It was This Book Will Save You Time. And it's, oh God, I'm just gonna grab it here because it's a good one.
Well, while you're getting that book, it just made me think of your first example. Made me think of when they say like, oh, you normally buy steak and now you're buying ground beef, which is, you know, half the price. But and so we're not going to change it. But they don't factor in you're buying the ground beef not because you like ground beef all of a sudden, but because you can't afford the steak. And I think that's the point that they're missing in the CPI. Well, I think they're not missing it. I think they're doing it on purpose because they need to print money and they need to make inflation seem like it's not as high as what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And inflation, you know, to some extent, they've been able to kind of keep their official, you know, like manipulated number at around 2% for quite a long time. But in the meantime, these interest rates been falling, going negative, basically all over the world. So your real interest rate is just like massively negative. And now they can't lower rates anymore. And now inflation is really going to run hot. I mean, the official number, if the official number is already 7%, people are really going to feel this, you know, and they can't do anything about it anymore. It just feels like in the next 2 or 3 or 4 years, we're going to see that. Yeah, I can just totally see that Weimar situation just, you know, where people are like, wait a second, what's happening? Like, I thought I was living in Europe, or I thought I was living in Canada or the US, you know, I didn't know I was living in Turkey or in Lebanon or in Argentina, where my currency is like degrading, just like the lira. What's going on here, you know? And then where are they going to go?
You're already seeing
gold, of course. Currency. You know, we're all going to hoard gold, obviously.
You're already seeing currencies around the world go through hyperinflation, and so it's only a matter of time before it happens to the US dollar. Yeah.
You'll have a canary in the coal mine in Canada. So you know, keep peeking up here. We'll probably let you know what's about to happen. I was going to say that book that I brought up, This Book Will Save You Time. It's by Nasir Mamedov. And he, one of the things he's talking about shrinkflation. And so they did a study of like candy bars in the UK. And over the course of, I think it was a decade, something like that. It might have been a little bit more, 15. I think it was only a decade, I swear. But so for instance, the price of a Snickers bar doubled, and the size of the Snicker bar was almost in half.
Oh.
Same with like, if you've ever seen the Toblerone bars, if you got one of those like years ago, they were like, each little peak was thick and like it was all the way through. And now there's less peaks and they're thinner than they used to be. So there's less. And all the, like, next time you pick up a jar of peanut butter, turn it upside down. Ever wonder why there's a huge fucking divot in the bottom? Because it's the same size of jar, but it's less peanut butter. And
with deodorant, the same thing. They design. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the cereal boxes is another one too, because it's the same front-facing thing, and you don't put 2 and 2 together, but they can make boxes thinner over time. So there's all these deceptive, and like, I mean, look at fucking toilet paper rolls. 12 equals 24 equals 36, and they have like, you know, exponents and all that shit in there. Like, this is actually 8,700 rolls of toilet paper.
When you're throwing like your chicken or your meat in the pan, and like all this water just comes out, right? It's like they inject it with water to like add weight to it or something. It's just
but it's interesting because there's people like David Wong, right, who believe that the government is here to serve him, and the government's going to have his back, and the government won't let inflation run up, that they're more invested in him as a person than the companies and the bond market. And it's just not true. The government is not worried about you as a person. They're not worried about what you have to pay for inflation. They're worried about making sure that they can get out of there and no one points the finger at them and no one blames them for a huge deflationary collapse. And if there's inflation, then there'll be inflation. And they do not care about us or me or any of us as people. They're not here to serve us. They're here to serve themselves.
In the end, yeah. And in the end, we all know like a guy like David around us, right? Like we all have a friend like that. Like they see everything about Bitcoin being as a trade. But like when I hear that, it's like, dude, there's so much more about this whole thing, right? There's so much whole about this whole thing. There's a whole journey. You get in about the price, but like you learn about economics, about history, about like, I don't know, philosophy, everything basically. So you pick the details from here, there, and like you create that puzzle that is Bitcoin and why it's so successful. And in the end, like what AF, man? Like 69 is gonna be the AF you think? Like, come on.
Yeah.
It has to double. Oh wow. It has to double for 69? No.
It's like, oh, I've never seen Bitcoin double in my lifetime.
Wow.
Never seen that happen in a couple months span.
Somebody interviewed me the other day and they were talking about volatility and everything, and they're like, well, it's almost half of what it was. I'm like, yeah, but you guys don't cover the fact that it was $4,000 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was like, was it? No way.
Yep.
Like that was like that's how this is the time frame. Like if fiat people that still live in a fiat world don't know that there's even a button to zoom out because they're too focused on the then and now, because that's all that their money allows them to do, right? You're conditioned to think for the immediate future and maybe a little bit of planning, but it's so incredibly difficult to plan to retirement now. Like it's all just a big question mark. And so that's why there's so much gambling. That's why every person is like, oh, I gotta fucking buy a bunch of NFTs and I gotta go and I gotta I gotta jump in on buying AMC stock and GameStop, and I'm gonna buy GameStop because I know that everything's fucking digital, but I think these brick and mortar stores, I know that people are just memeing it into being worth more, which I guess is a perfect kind of metaphor for our entire financial system. They're just memeing it into being valuable by creating fake numbers. It's people become the environment that they're in, and in an environment where central banks meme value into existence, that's what people are going to try and do with their take-home money. That's exactly what we're seeing.
Boom, another mic drop. What else do you want, man? Go to 42K. What else do you want? People go stack now.
No. We're not gonna talk David Wong into having a good time. We're not gonna talk in
David Wonky
to keeping his money. We're not. He can do whatever he wants to do with his money. So
I'm hearing Jeff Booth saying now we have to stay humble and we have to stay kind to these people because not everybody knows what you guys know. Come on, guys, stay.
But I mean, David's been here for months now, so I like that Yellow said everybody has a David, because I think I'm gonna, from now on, if I have a friend or somebody that's like that, I'm just gonna, oh yeah, he's a real David.
He's a real
if he really is here for months, then he sees something, I think.
Maybe.
He sees something in all this.
Yeah.
Maybe he's doing his research, and if he's doing that, like, go ahead, ask questions, and make us like so-called triggered, man. Like, we love it. Bring it on.
Trial by fire. Then after you kind of get through the ringer of being insulted on live on live YouTube streams by a bunch of Bitcoiners, then you can really get trial by fire by joining Bitcoin Twitter. So
He would not
No,
last too long there.
He'll do all the learning here, and then when he gets, then all of a sudden there's going to be some like glorious new Bitcoin David Maxi that drops onto Bitcoin Twitter one day, and he'll be elevated to a space of like safe or something. It'll just be David in the background having learned all his Bitcoin lessons here.
So, like, I sometimes try to figure out like how many Bitcoiners are there now. You know, like if you look at like Bitcoin Magazine, I think they just hit like 2 million followers. If you look at like an account like Plan B, is also around 2 million. So I figure, okay, so we have 2 million at least. You know, people who are at least interested. But that's just Twitter. I know, like, if you look at like Twitter usage, I think like in the Western world, it's about roughly between 10 and 20% of people will use Twitter. So there's like, you know, maybe you have to do it times 5. So there might be like, what is that, like 10 to 20 million people in the world that have Bitcoin now, roughly. So it's still such a small number, right? And it's already grown, and it's like doubling probably every 2 years or every year or something. I mean, we're going completely viral, even though we're still small. But
Yeah.
So we constantly have this endless stream of Davids coming in, you know, like every
the
month,
world is
every
David
week.
until they're not. Right?
So they're just gonna keep coming and coming. And like, Ben, you've been doing this for a long time. Like, how do you like? Do you ever get like tired?
Well,
or do you just,
I mean, I honestly
what
like.
is your, maybe in your audience, like, what is it? Yeah, sorry.
It's tough. Like there's always going to be somebody. I mean, in person, it's a lot easier, right? When somebody's like, yeah, I don't like it because of this, and it's very easy to be like, oh, that's not actually how it works. You know, I'll explain it to you. But yeah, and then when you couple that with, I found if somebody's asking me about it or they say something about it, and then I say that's not actually how it works, but then I don't follow it up with you should buy some. Then they're kind of like, well, tell me more about how it works. And so, I mean, everybody that I know in person in my life knows exactly what I do for a living, but I don't like, I no longer need to go and be like, oh, this is cool, you got to look at this, because the people that are curious will come and ask me, and then I'm super happy to sit down with them at any point to talk about and teach them whatever they need. And then
those are some lucky people that know you.
Yeah. And so
at the same time, when people come in new, they literally, like what Jeff Booth says, they don't know everything you know. So to hit them up with like, Bitcoin is inevitable, it's kind of a leap, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be, I if people ask me what I think, like where I think it'll go or what I think it could do, then, I give them the honest answers of, well, the first thing that I see is initially partially store of value. So it's going to start taking a chunk out of gold. It already has, for remittance markets. But, then if we get down that rabbit hole, I start talking about, well, how does it make sense that people are investing in things like bonds when it guarantees that it loses you money, and they're only doing that because the money doesn't hold value. So, I can kind of discuss a bit of that, but even that, it gets too far down the rabbit hole for them. Like when you talk about misallocated capital, they're like, what in the fuck are you talking about? So it's just say, like, even if it takes this % of gold, it's going to be a lot higher than it is now. And I think it's better than gold. And then I can explain why I think that's a good hopping off point.
Yeah, getting people to understand the bond market is extremely hard. I think that it's trying to like break that down in a digestible way and being like, yeah, and that's also like $300+ trillion. So it's 300 from here. I think that's hard.
The funny thing is, nobody gives a fuck about numbers anymore.
No,
like, trillion is a regular number in our vernacular now.
Yes.
That's insane.
It is.
Like, people were losing their minds about hundreds of billions
in 08.
In 08, and now it's like they throw around trillion regularly, and nobody, like, people are like, oh, it's a little steep. Like, if it's 3 trillion, I don't know, but maybe we could pare that back to like 1.5. Like, that is the discussion of like, how many trillions is too many trillions?
Yeah, and it becomes normal now. It becomes so normal now that you can see it even in the so-called crypto market, like all those guys trading seed coins to seed coin. Like they don't value the prices, right? They don't value the numbers because they are bred and like raised in a world that those numbers mean nothing.
Mhm.
Like
There's like a big shift going on right now with Bitcoiners. Like fiat world is getting intensely more fiat, where people, all they care about is like if they're trading some alts or whatever, all they think about is just flipping it, rug pulling, getting out of there, and making money at any cost. Like I have some friends that I know that they're into these altcoins and all that stuff, and it's crazy. They'll post these, these screenshots of their altcoin going up to the moon or whatever, and it's like, and then I'm just here, just like Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin forever. Like, don't worry about all this fiat. It's not about making money at any cost. And I think that there's a shift that's happening where more people are going to understand that, and it resonates with people that it's not just about making money at any cost. It's about having values, integrity, having like, what are your morals? How are you making the money that you're making? And I think that more and more people are gonna see that there's these people that are just flipping money and they're doing it and they're just kind of slimy. And then you're gonna have these Bitcoiners who are making, we're partying, we're celebrating, whatever, but we also are trying to stick to certain morals. We have some type of integrity along the way.
Yeah,
I think
it all goes down to that old Aesop's like fairy tale, like with the rabbit and the turtle, man, like seed coins and Bitcoin.
yeah, that's true. The rabbit and the hare, or the hare and the tortoise.
It's gonna be. I know it's frustrating for new Bitcoiners in their first year when they get into the people that, especially people this year that have this is one of the first years that I've really noticed in the past calendar year, we'll say, people coming into Bitcoin that very quickly or almost immediately go to Bitcoin only, and that's kind of a relatively new new thing that you haven't seen that a lot, but I think it speaks to the quality of like thoughtful material that's put out there to better explain Bitcoin and the difference between Bitcoin and everything else. But I think that it can be frustrating coming in, getting that, watching a bunch of people that be richer than you for a period of time. But just know that how this plays out in a lot of instances, from what I've seen is, first you feel like a bit of an idiot for not diving into all this bullshit on the side, but then a bear market hits and you have a lot of conviction in what you own. And the person that has all these other shit coins, one of two things will happen. They will also have a lot of conviction in what they own, and then they'll hold it to have it never come back. Or two, they'll have zero conviction because they've just been buying it based on price signals, and they'll sell it at a massive loss. Then it'll come around again to the next cycle. And again, you may still have idiot friends that are buying all the shit coins. And again, once again, temporarily, they will seem on paper richer than you, possibly. But eventually, that is no longer true because they start going through money more and more and more, and a lot of what they're holding is not going to retain any value, and they're going to end up with way less Bitcoin than you. So stay the course.
Whoever is listening, we're not just talking. Like, these things are happening every day. Like the other day, 320 million from Ethereum and Solana got like stolen. 320 million. Like Solana is working and not working every other day. Like, like even if those projects survive the next cycle, until you reach that, the probability of you losing your money in a smart contract or a wibby wobby kind of silly thing going on, right? Like, it's way up. So why would I bet all my money, all my value, all my sweat to that casino? Like, go stack Bitcoin. It's a short thing. I really don't get it.
But Yellow, Avery would like to wonder, what do you think of Cardano?
Now Cardano is another thing. Cardano is the only project that comes to many colors. So
don't buy Cardano.
no, don't buy it. Don't buy. I'm joking. Solano.
Did you see that Ethereum, that hack? There's a VC company called Jump Capital that they paid back the $300 million in ETH that got hacked. And so they basically bailed out, like ETH/Solana got hacked. And then Jump Capital, as VC, came in and bailed them out because I think they were backing a lot of the wormhole. It's just a whole other thing you don't have to worry about, but it's just fiat at another level. These there's no creative destruction. Company gets hacked.
There's another one that happened lately. So the so-called Wonderland project where
the Verge,
they fought each other, and in the end, the main dev made a tweet that basically said, "I'm taking control of this DAO."
Yes.
And it's only gonna be controlled by me because I want to stop the drama. So basically, the guy said, "I'm controlling this DAO, right, to fix it." So
it's a decentralized, autonomous organization.
Downloading in his PC and he's fixing it, right? And it's a whole DAO, right?
Yeah. It's like when you roll back some network.
It's just that words have no more meaning, right? Like decentralized doesn't mean decentralized to these people. Freedom is anti-vax now for some reason. It's like there's no meaning to any words, and that's what I really like about Bitcoin is Bitcoin brings back truth, and there's meaning behind certain words. There's meaning to things. That's what's really good about it.
Yeah. It's look, David Wong. Solana is only 34 billion market cap right now. It can go up a few 100% from here. Oh, David.
David. Exactly. Go buy it.
The best part about that, so the Solana thing, the bailout, it's a perfect example of what it is. It's a VC-backed shitcoin. And somebody bailing out a massive hack of $325 million doesn't fix the fact that the fucking thing's broken and continues to break all the time. No amount of VC money in the world is going to fix that and stop it from being a centralized shitcoin. And that's what it is.
And not only that, it's breaking when it is run in at least 10 nodes or something. It only runs in 10 nodes or something silly that, and it's breaking down, and they cannot fix it.
It's like a zombie. It's a spawn. It's like a zombie company. The only way that zombie companies still exist is because they have access to the money printer. They can get bailed out, and they can keep pushing along because they keep getting bailed out. It's the same thing with it. Yeah, it's just another VC. It's just VC repackaged with blockchain, and that's what every altcoin is. And one day they're all just going to go to zero to Bitcoin.
I wonder how far into hyperinflation we'll get when people are still valuing things in dollars and not understanding why the shitcoin that they're holding is going so much up in dollars, but they can't get as much with it. I wonder at what point people's mental models of pricing in dollars just break and go, oh shit, I've been pricing in the wrong currency. This is not a sound currency. Oh my God, I've been measuring gains that are actually losses.
I had some other guy ask me on Twitter the other day, what are you going to do when you need to switch some of your Bitcoin into dollars and nobody wants to buy it from you? And I was there thinking what are you going to do when you realize that nobody wants your dollars anymore? Right now, they're still in that safe majority, right? Where everybody's still denominating everything in fiat, in dollars, or in euros. But there's this growing group of people that just don't want dollars anymore. We've already done a bank run, We've taken our fiat out, we've put it into Bitcoin, and we're trying to accumulate more. We don't want no more fiat. And
Yeah.
there's going to be this tipping point somewhere between, between 20 or 40% when people are going to realize, holy shit, I got to get some of this Bitcoin because people don't want dollars anymore.
Yeah.
And then it might just be too late. We're going to see crazy stuff.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I've got a little bit of time left. I think what I'd like to do is maybe just do a quick round of any final thoughts, but I'm also going to give you a challenge this week. I'm going to give you a challenge to recommend a piece of content or a book or a video or an article, something that you've seen recently that you really, or listened to recently that you really enjoyed and that you would like to share, and you think people should take a look at. But before, just to give you a moment to think before we do that, I'm gonna bring it up once more because there's been some plebs that have been tossing sats our way. So thank you, plebs, that have been watching this show and dropping some sats. We're at 88.6 million sats in the Bitcoin for Truckers. 89. It just went up. Hold on, let's refresh here. 89 million sats, and we can see them streaming in. So GoFundMe can go fuck itself. Awesome. GoFundMe is dead. Also, when I turned off my camera, I was just resetting the node. I think it got a little overwhelmed, but Lightning is now working through. Thanks for stepping up and fighting to end the mandates and inspiring the world to do the same. Opt out of their system by Bitcoin. That obviously directed towards the truckers. There's been a bunch for a good time. Bitcoin every sat counts. That's from Mr. Bitcoin. Keep on trucking. Honk honk. Thanks, Christopher Scott. There's a bunch of them. Hong Kong from Germany, Hong Kong from Sweden. I've been seeing them from all over the place too. I've been seeing from like France and Italy and South America, like Brazil. I've seen it from all over. So thanks everybody that's been helping with this. So if you want to find this again, it's over just on Twitter. Find Honk Honk Hodl. And there's a pinned tweet right at the top that links to our Tallycoin page. While I'm live, I'm just going to do one right now. So I've just got a wallet open on my phone. I'll just do I'll send over like $20 here, we'll say. Okay. So I pick my amount. It figures out the number of sats that I need. I choose Lightning. It's going to generate an invoice for me. I can scan it on my phone right now, hit pay. By the way, don't refresh the page in the middle of paying because that's when it might not notice the payment go through. So just so you know, that is, we've noticed that issue recently. So anyways, that is being sent off and it should pop up here momentarily. But in the meantime, let's get to our closing thoughts and go down the line. So Yellow, do you have any final thoughts for today? Anything that you wanted to say? Anything you wanted to recommend?
Thanks for having us again, Ben. Just want to say that, and don't watch the price that much. It's noise. Go stack daily, weekly, whatever, however you do it. That's the goal. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I would suggest, lately, whenever I have a little time, I just go to Bitcoin Audible. I don't know. It's a huge rabbit hole, man. The latest one I did listen was the Jeff. What was it? I don't remember. Anyway,
Jeff Booth. That sounds promising.
Jeff Booth. Yeah.
Just look up anything Jeff Booth. Awesome, Sean.
Go
how about
down
you?
the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Ben, for having us on. It's always a pleasure, and the chat is awesome. Thanks to the chat. I would say the thing that I just listened to and read as well was Greg Foss's. It was why every fixed income investor should consider Bitcoin, parts 1 through 4. And Guy Swan actually read that on Bitcoin Audible. He split up in 2 parts. So that's probably one of the best things that I've listened to and read. and down the rabbit hole. I really enjoyed it, and it just kind of opens up your mind to what's going on in the financial system even more. So take a listen to that, and keep listening to Ben, of course. And thanks again for having us.
Yeah, thanks, man. And Marcus, you're up. Final thoughts and anything to recommend?
Yeah, thanks so much, Ben. Always super awesome to be here. Sometimes I said, like meme it into reality, because when I came in on Bitcoin Twitter, I made an anon account because I just wanted to be able to ask questions and not, like look like an idiot. But asking enough questions, and you start hanging out with people, and before you know it, you're here talking with Ben on the BTC session. So anybody that's listening, I would recommend everybody to start making some kind of content, whether it's like what's Ben doing, or whether you're going to make memes, or like the crypto couple where they make plays, or write an article like Gigi, or make music or whatever. But we're all here on Twitter, and you can even like pull in like information from different websites and just share it with somebody on Twitter. It's everybody, the hive mind, everybody doing their little worker ant things, and adding a little bit to the network adds so much value in when you put it all together. So that would be my final plea to everybody. Like just do a little extra. It goes a long way.
Awesome. I'm gonna give a recommendation as well here. If you haven't read it already, he has actually just got interviewed by Pedro McCormick. But hold on, got it right here. Eric Yakes, the seventh property. I met this guy in Miami for Bitcoin 2021. He just came up to me and he was like, "Yo, I wrote a book about Bitcoin, and I would like you to read it." So I opened up Amazon on the spot and bought it and read it, and it was fucking awesome. It's very, very good. It talks about the properties of money and how Bitcoin brings the much needed seventh property of money. It's the first one to do it. And so he goes through the history of money, and then he goes through the Bitcoin and actually how it works and everything. And he does an incredible job of it. I would say this is on par with the Bitcoin standard. And it goes more technical into Bitcoin and how it works. So I highly recommend it. And it also, like the in the history of money stuff, he picks out different things than Safe did. So it's very, very, and he also goes into much greater detail into how the current financial system works. So highly recommend The Seventh Property, Bitcoin and the Monetary Revolution by Eric Yakes, and he's going to be on What Bitcoin Did pretty soon, so probably worth a listen there.
I would add a little bit, if it's your thing kind of thing, like go read a little bit of Heraclitus. Like there's also a book called Heraclitus the Dark Poet. Like that guy was a Bitcoiner before Bitcoin. Like there's something to that guy, and he's all I can't think of the word, mentality, I guess, the dualism and all thing, that it's so Bitcoin. And also, I guess because Craig is not here, Craig would recommend something. Go and watch the Bon Appetit YouTube channel, how to cook a potato 63 methods, like, or something like that. Like there's so many ways to cook a potato, and most people know baked and like fried, but that's not so many things, right? Like,
Salted, unsalted.
Yeah, man, like go do that.
Yeah, add some sour cream and sprinkle it with cheese.
Yeah.
And David, join us, man. It's just a lot more fun on this side, I'll tell you that.
David's gonna start watching Meme Factory now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's already started heading
over.
over. He's on all over the Bitcoin magazine streams now too. I've heard people are like, "Oh, David is." But David, I do hope you stay here as well. I know. Was I your first? I hope I was your first. I'll be offended if I wasn't. But I heard that he's over there. He's seeing other people from time to time. I don't mind as long as you come on home. All right.
BDS, Bitcoin Derangement Syndrome. It's a real thing. Don't fall victim to it.
It is. And then David's final thoughts. How about the Tulip Mania? Thank you, David. I love seeing you. So we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up here. Again, thank you, everybody on the panel, guys. I love having you here. I also loved all of Greg's contributions here.
Yeah. Don't forget the Meme Factory. We do have a podcast now.
Yes. Let people know where to find it.
Every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and right here on YouTube. So just type in the Meme Factory podcast, and then we also release them the next day on YouTube and on Apple and Spotify. So if I don't know, stay here, stick and watch Ben, but come on over to our show every once in a while too.
Shout out to all the memers and seed posters, and shout out to Labra. I hope he's back very soon. Free Labra.
I want to say thank you to my mom.
He is. Woof woof.
There he is. Hey, there he is. He'll be back. Yeah. Awesome. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. You are welcome back anytime, and have a wonderful Friday evening.
All right.
Thanks for the laughs, Ben.
Walhalla.
And I'll say a quick goodbye after we go offline here as well, but I'm going to do my outro. So I'll see you guys in a minute if you're still around. All right. Everybody, thank you for watching. Again, hope you are having a good start to your Friday night, if it is nighttime wherever you are. Yeah, very exciting week. A lot of fun. Again, I've got to give a shout out to everybody that's helping with sharing, contributing to that fundraiser that's up there on Tallycoin. The Lightning should be working now. Quick node reset, and that was all good to go. On-chain is always working. And yeah, means a lot. It's been a lot of support. I was super worried about, again, kind of having my face in and around it for worry of, friends, people that I know, even just kind of causing tension there. But, I think there's some good people in Ottawa, and I also agree. It's time to go back to normal. So there we go. But I'll leave it there. Thank you guys very much. As always, like, subscribe, share, all those things. Super, super important. They really do help the show. You can help out the show in another way. You can hit up the previously mentioned sponsors down below. Shakepay, LEDN, Bitrefill, Keystone, BillFodl. All of them are down there. All of the Twitter handles for everyone that was on the show, including Greg, are down below too. And if you really liked what you saw, you can always, I was going to say you could hit up my Strike page, but no, rather than do that, just head over to the Tallycoin page and drop whatever you like in there. Drop some sats if you see fit. You can find it again through @HonkHonkHodl on Twitter, and there's a pinned tweet up top that will lead you to that page, and it will show that it's from us. So yeah, that is it. Have yourselves a wonderful day or evening, wherever you may be. I'll see you guys next time for your daily session.
HODL the Bitcoin.